one thing that I do want to do is, since we're on David Shurter, and I wanted to show this last night, but then like Jesse was streaming, and a lot of you might have already seen this, but Aussie John sent me a link to David Shurter in court dealing with one of his restraining orders, and I want to show a little bit of that, or for you guys. So let's play it.
We interrupt our program to bring.
And I'm gonna try to like this. It starts out like right here with him.
There was no fucking 1-year-old. There was no 1-year-old on those protection orders. There's no child involved at all. You know? And again, they obviously were directly connected to Doug Mesner, who's all involved with this child trafficking.
So what's happening here is David is reacting to us finding a record of a restraining order on him where he went crazy around his neighbors, saying that they were, part of directed energy weapons being done to him. And he'd taken pictures of their license plates, and, he put them on YouTube, said that something was going to happen to their daughter, who was only 1 year old. And so it's the 1-year-old baby that he's denying recently within the last year. Someone let this play.
Which is why you're all in here. You don't have any proof. What you have is manufactured bullshit. You have manufactured bullshit. And you guys are all sitting down manufacturing bullshit.
You were right, David. You shouldn't listen to me. Who could I possibly get to really drive this home? Right. My bad. You, David, I will get you to be the one to remind yourself what a disgusting creep you were. You were literally the nightmare on Main Street. Let's listen to what really went down when you went to court over these protection orders. The ones with the 1-year-old in them,
So,
this is the court hearing.
got a special set for hearing 2 of them is Spencer Lloyd here?
Yes.
I'm sorry? Who's we?
Oh, I'm sorry. Sarah Robinson, attorney for Mr. Lloyd and Ms. Seekins.
All right, is Ms. Seekins here?
Yes.
Yeah, is Mr. Shurter here? Okay, folks, I gotta grab the files off my desk. Give me a couple of minutes to get my stuff and I'll be back in here.
All right. Court is in recess.
Please come forward to tables. I don't care which ones you guys take.
So yeah, this is who Sarah's Rachel Adams is manipulating with $5,000. I'm going to speed it up a little. Let me see if I can get a little faster.
Laura Seekins versus David Shurter, 174-00303, and Spencer Lloyd versus David Shurter, 174-0034. They are both full order hearings after a temporary order was issued. So if I could have all the parties raise their right hands, please. Do you and each of you solemnly swear or affirm testimony you might give in this matter will be the truth? If so, answer I will.
I do.
All right, thank you. Mr. Shurter, these are requests for the court to issue what's called a permanent restraining order. That's kind of a misnomer because generally speaking, under the statute, it's a year. So it's
Yeah, David, this is about to happen to you again. Yes, it is.
not forever. you were served with a copy of the pleadings, is that correct?
Yes.
And you had a chance to review those?
Yes.
Do you have any opposition to an order being issued?
I do.
All right.
I have been in an investigation with my parents, trying to get my parents investigated for child trafficking for 11 years now. I have a award-winning book that I wrote, trying to get involved. I've lived in Algona for 3.5 years with absolutely no issues. No issues with the police. I still don't have any issues with the police. There are allegations that I've threatened the police, but Algona police are kind of a no-nonsense kind of people, and if I would have, they would have arrested me. In fact, Ryan Miller, who was a policeman who's been involved with this, just stopped me for speeding this last Sunday and let me off with no ticket. We were fine. Officer Gilbert Langer showed up at my house probably Saturday, and we had a 45-minute conversation where he just wanted to check up on me. Before that, the week before last, he came and had the crisis center come out and just check me out. I would have gotten those reports, but the crisis center hasn't actually made the report yet, so I haven't been able to get it. The police station couldn't forward it to me. I have had my house in the last 6 to 8 months. I've had my house broken into several times. I have an alarm system that's not set up to ADT, but it is an alarm system. Officer Gilbert Langer came out and to check out the house, told me to start setting the alarm. 2 days later, my doors were unlocked and my alarm was going off as well. I have PTSD because of what I went through with my parents and all of that, and so it's been a very trying situation. And I live in a very established neighborhood. Everybody has been there for 20 years. Almost every single person around me is retired. That's why I kind of focused on these people, because they're brand new. They just moved in a year ago, and because I have PTSD, I used to have problems with agoraphobia. And so I leave my house now, but it's only for a couple hours at a time. So whoever's breaking into my house over and over and over has to realize when I'm leaving. It can't just be some arbitrary person who's coming around. I've had people in my...
Wait, I guess you lost me there for a minute.
The very last time that it happened, I ended up going to federal... When my house was broken into and my doors were left unlocked and the alarm was going
Well,
on.
you didn't say your house had been broken into. You just said your doors were open.
No, it's been broken into.
And
I don't know how.
You didn't say that. That's all I'm
sorry.
saying. Is
I apologize, Your
all of a
Honor.
sudden you jumped to your house being broken into a bunch of times. You did not mention that.
Yeah, it's been broken into several times. The police have been called. The primary person who's been helping me deal with this is Officer Gilbert Langer. He was the one who's told me to start setting up my alarm, even though it's just a noisemaker. The last time I left my house, I went to Federal Way to PetSmart to just get food and came back, and someone had broken into my house again. The doors were left open, the alarm was going on. And so someone has to know when I'm leaving and when I'm coming and when I'm going.
How do you know it was broken into?
Because all the doors were locked and the alarm was off, or the alarm was on. I turned the alarm off. When I got back home, all of my doors were open and the alarm was going off. So someone had to have been in my house to set the alarm. You have to open the door to set the alarm off.
Well, okay, but more the point is, was there any evidence that it had been, quote, broken, end quote, into, or did somebody just unlock it?
Officer Langer actually said that we don't know how they got in. We just know that they were in the house.
Well, he knows that the door was open. He doesn't know anybody was in the house.
That's true, but how would it set off the alarm?
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying.
See, that's what I'm saying, is the only way to set off the alarm is to actually open the door. That's the only way that it sets off the alarm. And because I'm dealing with this child trafficking thing that was going on, I've been dealing with a person by the name of Doug Mesner. Doug Mesner is a founder of the Satanic Temple. The reason why there are things saying in there that I said that they're CIA. I never said that they were CIA, but I do say that Doug Mesner, who I've been getting death threats from, I've been working in Floyd, Virginia with an inspector, Bruce Turner, because Doug Mesner and his group ended up murdering Lori King. She was a survivor. And they went all over online and bragged about it. And I know that he is CIA because his co-founder.
I know it's shocking that he's saying the same stories to the judge as if it's going to hold in court. It's really kind of, it's almost it's shocking and alarming and almost funny all at the same time. I don't know I'm not sure how to feel about it. I go in different directions.
Shane Bugbee wrote an article. And it says, I recall Doug Mesner telling me that the CIA had asked him to write some private reports for them. Maybe in my most paranoid state, I could run and ramble with the possibilities there. That's why I was focused on this, that I'm dealing with the government, because I'm dealing with some very important, powerful people in Omaha trying to get my father investigated. My father went and told people that he told me, my sister Kathy, and his doctors.
Yes, Jesse. Jesse's asking, so this was before he moved to Iowa. Yeah, he moved to Iowa after this. This is when he was in Algona. This is yeah. So yeah.
Nurses in his
This was 2017, I believe.
Hospital hospice care, that he had murdered kids in a laundry room that he had turned into a soundproof room, and he had put the remains of their bodies in the walls of his master bedroom closet, which he completely rebuilt. And so I'm battling some really powerful people here trying to get this investigated, and I don't quite understand. I'm shooting in the dark here. This all started because I tried to get my dad investigated for child trafficking. I've never threatened to kill anyone's kids. The video that they're talking about, I specifically said I was praying to God for God to smite their children. And not just theirs, but everyone who was involved.
What? I was praying to God for God to smite their children. Wow, that's a violent prayer. That's a violent prayer. Kind of like, God, let me be the person to put the albatross around their necks. Yeah, okay.
And I specifically said in the video that it wasn't me, that if it happened, it wouldn't be me, it would be angels. And it wouldn't be me. And I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus Christ. I don't believe in violence. I don't believe in retribution. I have been under a great deal of stress. I feel like I'm under something.
But you have taken retribution on people, David, against people that are innocent that you think deserve retribution. I mean, negotiating the death of people for payment is retribution.
Attack. I have lost 85 pounds in 2 months. I have gone to the doctor or the hospital 3 times. They've taken all kinds of blood tests. They have done all kinds of stuff, and they can't figure out. As far as my blood work goes, I'm totally healthy. And yet I've lost 85 pounds in the last 2 months. And it's just been kind of it's a strange situation that I've been under. It's been a strange situation trying to get my dad investigated, and I am no threat to anybody, let alone these people. And in fact, I'm trying to make them more comfortable. I'm trying to get my house put up for sale so I can just move away. So they can have the whole neighborhood to themselves. I do walk past their house many times a day, but my car was destroyed 3 months ago. And to get to the little store in town, to get to the Albertsons, to get to my bank, I have to walk that way to go there. They're right across the
That's a lot of walking for somebody who has issues with agoraphobia. I'm just saying.
street. It's the only way. Otherwise, I have to walk like a mile all around.
I guess there wasn't DoorDash back then.
And so I've been trying to avoid them. The only confrontation that we ever had, I walked past them. I said, it's a great day to be alive. Floyd started yelling at me, do I have a problem with them? I said, just check out my blog. I walked to the little store. When I was coming home, he was talking to my neighbors.
Still telling people to check out his blog.
Well, I had handed out my book to the neighbors that morning. And he started yelling at me in the street, I'm not CIA. And then he demanded that I get in his truck with him and go to the police station. And I obviously wouldn't do it. He was screaming at me. So then he told me he could just kick my ass right there. When I turned around to just keep walking back home, he started to bum rush me. So I had to turn around and tell him, dude, don't do anything. Our neighbor is standing right there, which Paul, who is my next door neighbor who lives in the front on the side of my house, was standing right there. And so I have not been aggressive. I have done things online just to try and get information because I have been terrified. I have been very scared. I feel like I'm under attack. I'm getting death threats. I get death threats. I've gone to the Algona police with them, but they're so vague that there's nothing that can be done, but they're obviously threats. I got ready to leave one day. I'm having to deal with threats on my YouTube channel because I've been trying to document this whole thing. Like I said, I have an award-winning book. I have a documentary out there that actually details my past and what I've gone through. All I want to do is get my dad investigated for child trafficking. That's all I really want to do. What? And I don't want to be I don't want to attack anybody. I'm certainly no threat. I have absolutely no threat of violence. I do, years ago when I first got involved with this, have a protection order that my stepmother did against me. But in the end, she got the protection order over a postcard that I sent her 6 years previous. And so I've been battling some very powerful, important people because what my dad was involved with in Omaha, Nebraska is well known as something called Franklin Credit Scandal.
What you talking about, Will?
In the 80s, the New York Times.
Hang in there, Sarin, because you're going to hear the other side in just a second. It's going to happen here pretty soon.
Reported that this went all the way up to the first George Bush White House. And that's from the New York Times. That's not from me. And so this has all been incredibly stressful. But I'm no threat to anybody. I pretty much just hang out.
Yeah, and to see how he is the victim, right? It's incredibly stressful. It's stressful on me.
At my house, I'm more afraid of people than they should ever be afraid of me. I hide out. That's why I've had agoraphobia before. Is that I just hide out at my house. I take care of my dogs. I've had no problems with the police.
I know what it's like to have agoraphobia.
I've never threatened them. If I would have threatened them, they would have arrested me. That's how Algona police work. They're kind of a no-nonsense kind of group of police. And as far as I'm concerned, they've been very helpful. You know, Officer Gilbert Lenger has been incredibly helpful. And Ryan Miller and I have had some issues. I didn't like him for a while, but this last Sunday when he stopped me for speeding, we actually had a nice conversation.
He's like judging the police and like
apologized for my snippy comments that I've made to him. And so I'm on very good standing with the Algona Police Department. They've been trying to help me. They just don't know how. So let's talk about that whole episode. So they made me light someone on fire when I was 10. And as you can imagine, I became pretty much out of control. My parents, my dad and my stepmother couldn't control me. So they decided to take me up and dump me at my sister Kathy's house in Minneapolis. And so when I was 12, I ended up attacking her 3-year-old son. I was 12, he was 3. Doug keeps wanting to say that, oh, you molested him. There was some of that because I was acting out, but for the most part, I beat the fuck out of him.
Okay, counsel.
Okay, so that is who Sarah Rachel Adams is giving money to come after me, Taj and I. Yeah, that's Sarah. That's who she's giving the money to.
For the record.
Thank you, Your Honor. For the record, Terry Robinson, appearing on behalf of Mr. Lloyd and Ms. Seekins. Your Honor, I think Mr. Lloyd set forth very clearly in his petition how they feel they are being threatened. Mr. Lloyd brought with him today a copy of the blog that Mr. Shurter keeps mentioning, and contained within that blog are threats against children and all of your children, photographs of the Spencer's vehicle, photographs of the Spencer's home, comments for people to investigate Mr. Lloyd. And I'd like to offer this, if I could have a mark.
You want to give it to Mr. Lloyd or Mr. Shurter to review?
So he's engaged in a course of conduct without any explanation. I mean, we don't have a underlying reason as to why he selected this couple, other than what he's just said this morning, that they're new to the neighborhood. But as Mr. Lloyd set forth in his affidavit to the court, they feel that they're being cyberbullied as a family. He's saying in his blog that they will lose their daughter. He's saying in his blog that they will lose their daughter. He's saying in his blog that they will lose their daughter. He's stalking their cars, license plate, home address, putting them all over the internet, telling people to come after them, claiming they are part of some government's conspiracy. He's posting daily YouTube videos addressing the home while claiming he's killed children in the same videos. He's also threatened local law enforcement. On April 25th, the YouTube video says, "I have finally claimed who I am to the order. Say goodbye to your children." Mr. Lloyd and Ms. Seekins have one daughter. This is very threatening conduct on Mr. Shurter's behalf without reason. He's also, on the 26th, telling his followers that he set up some, and he's talking about Mr. Lloyd now, that Mr. Lloyd has set up some sort of government laser weapon. And then he goes and puts Mr. Lloyd's address on the internet and asks people to look into it. Again, he's taken pictures of their home and refers to them as being evil. He's also wrote on Facebook how he looked into their windows of their home when they weren't home. He's also taken videos of the home on YouTube to draw followers' attention to them. He's taken pictures of their house, their car, their license plates, posted them on Facebook. He's taken pictures of Mr. Lloyd's license plate and placed it on Facebook. On April 5th, he's asking people to check out Spencer Lloyd. On May 7th, he yelled at neighbors, telling them that we have a government weapon and are after him, telling him that we are after him. And I asked, I guess this is in response to Mr. Shurter's comments, that he did have a conversation with Mr. Lloyd on one occasion. But I believe Mr. Lloyd indicates that he was asking if there was a problem. So there's just no reason for this type of activity. It's been repetitive. It's very threatening. They're asking that this court enter an order restraining Mr. Shurter from having any type of contact with them, from keeping them under any type of surveillance, from coming within 500 feet of their residence. If he needs to walk around the neighborhood a mile, I guess that's what he'll need to do. But this type of conduct is very alarming, and I'll pass forward, Your Honor. Mr. Shurter's had an opportunity to take a look at his blog, and I think it gives the court an indication of what they're having to deal with. And there's just absolutely no reason for him to be engaging in this type of activity. I don't know what stresses Mr. Shurter is experiencing, what mental health issues he's experiencing, but he can deal with those on his own. He just needs to stay away from this couple and their child. Thank you.
But your side has come up with lie after lie after lie after lie. There was no fucking 1-year-old. There was no 1-year-old on those protection orders. There's no child involved at all. You know?
He is such a liar. And I think a lot of us have witnessed him do this on a lot of the claims we've made. He denies, but here's the court evidence, David. And you're going to see him get sentenced. You're going to see what the judge's decision is. And yeah, they did put the restraining order on him. Their restraining orders there last for 1 year. So from, I think it was like May 23rd, 2017 to May 23rd, 2018, he had a restraining order. At which point I do believe he sold his house and moved to Harlan, Iowa.
And again, they obviously were directly connected to Doug Mesner, who's all involved with this child trafficking bullshit, which is why you're all in here. You don't have any proof. You know, what you have is manufactured bullshit. You have manufactured bullshit. And you guys are all sitting down manufacturing bullshit.
Many minutes later.
All right, Mr. Shurter, I'll give you 3 minutes to respond.
I would like to, as far as I know it sounds crazy about these energy weapons, and so I would like to actually submit some of my own stuff. The NBC News article that the Air Force went in front of Congress and said that they had these weapons and that they are using them on American citizens.
Who's they?
The Air Force went in front of Congress, and Air Force said that they had these weapons.
David, almost every other video talks about how he has energy weapons and how he's had all these struggles with it. This is ongoing. It's not stopped from this point.
I also have a PDF of all of the laws.
I mean, now he's asphyxiated on his neighbor, saying that they're harming his dogs, and apparently he might be not legal, so he's going to call ICE on them. That's where we're at now with how David is talking about his neighbors.
Because there are laws on the books from using these weapons in Michigan, Maine, and Massachusetts, and this is the collection of the laws. I had one that was written of no one who used, if they were using these weapons, they would never admit it because there are federal law. I printed it off, but I forgot to grab it from my computer. If you get convicted of using these weapons.
But why does that have anything to do with the two petitioners?
The thing about it is that I do feel like I'm under attack. Do they need to see these?
Give the first one to the attorney. The second one is, you indicated, were Massachusetts, Michigan, and someplace else?
These are laws that show that these weapons exist.
Right, but there are laws in other states.
Yes, they are.
So I'm not
particularly
concerned with that.
I do feel that I am under some sort of strange attack. I am fighting the government.
Well, then that may or may not be true, but what I want to know is, what does that have to do with the two petitioners?
The thing about it is that what's happening is that, again, it's because I'm actually gathering, because people have been breaking into my house, and because I feel like I'm under such attack, and again, that I never threatened to take away their kid. What I did threaten to do is call Child Protective Services because they don't ever go outside with their child.
Alrighty then.
And the reason why I know that is because I can see that they're right across the street from me, Your Honor. When I'm at my living room window, when I open my living room windows, I can see what's going on. And nobody in the neighborhood knew who these people were until the day that we had our confrontation. Then all of a sudden he went out and started talking to the neighbors. I feel like I am under some sort of attack. And again, it goes to the whole thing about I'm battling people who are connected to the CIA. Such as Doug Mesner. And so it's, you know, something is happening that is actually, I feel like there's some sort of attack. And yes, I did go. I did not look in their windows. In fact, the post that they're talking about, I said it looked like they didn't have any furniture. So if they have furniture, I obviously didn't look in the window. It was just, I was walking past, I could see that, because usually their blinds are completely shut. They've been that way for a year. They're never outside, the blinds are completely shut. One day I was walking from the little store, and I was walking back home, because it's only 2.5 blocks. The window was up. I didn't go.
Yeah, it's crazy that he still thinks he's in the right. It's crazy.
Look in the window. It was from where I could see on the sidewalk. And all I said was, it doesn't look like they have any furniture. What? And you have to understand, I'm getting death threats from this Doug Mesner. What? I have been stalked by people that are connected to the Satanic Temple. I'm being attacked online constantly from these people. What? I am under attack because they do not want me to get this investigation going on with my dad. What? Trying to get this child trafficking.
And you've said that now a number of times this morning, and I have to come back to, what does any of this have to do with the petitioners?
Because someone in my neighborhood has to be breaking into my house.
And you think it's them?
Everyone else is retired. And I've lived there for 3.5 years and never had any problems. And now suddenly, since they came, I've had problems. And so it was just kind of for me, it was a logical deduction. If they're new and I've never had any problems before, and now I suddenly have problems, and everyone else is in their 60s and 70s, you know?
You know how fucking stupid you have to be to even think something like that, let alone say it publicly and act like you're fucking serious.
I've never had any problems. I live in a very established neighborhood. And so it was kind of it could have been a wrong conclusion. Since I've gotten this protection order, I've stopped talking about them. I've stopped doing anything to deal with anything about them. And I will not start up again. I don't want anything to do with them. I don't want any problems. I don't want my police to have any problems. I don't want my neighbors to have any problems. This has been a crazy situation. And so they are under no threat. I'm not searching their windows. When I took pictures of their car, you will see I was standing on the street. It wasn't that I was even in their yard. And the thing about it is, yes, I took pictures of their cars to try and find out. But what they don't tell you is that the Lloyd Spencer that I thought they were isn't who they were. The Lloyd Spencer that people had investigated said that it was some CEO that was in Bellevue, Washington. That's obviously not them. And that's how it started, was that I was going there. So I thought they were someone else other than who they were. And so I don't mean these people any harm. I don't. I want to stay away from them. I will stay away from them. I'm in the process of trying to get my house sold so I can get away from the neighborhood and get away from them. They're in no danger from me. I don't talk about them anymore. I don't say anything anymore. The videos that they're talking about weren't even connected to them, unless they're part of the Order, which is the group that my family was involved with when I grew up with. If they're not part of the Order, then it obviously wasn't meant for them. You know, and so they're taking things out of context of what I've said.
Right. How far is your house from theirs?
To go to my mailbox, I'm going to be breaking the law.
Well, that's not what I asked you. How far is it? In feet?
My house is right here, and their house is on the corner, so
Well, that
probably
doesn't-
no more than 300 feet. From my house, it's a little bit more because my yard is big, but from my mailbox to their house is probably 300 feet.
Would you concur, counsel?
I would estimate that that's about right, Your Honor. I know
Yeah.
that creates a problem.
Well, maybe or maybe not. And how do you get to the store from your house, Mr.
I just
Shurter?
walk down the street.
Is there a
I walk on the sidewalk.
Is
The
there a-
sidewalk is on their side of the street.
There's a
And
sidewalk.
There's a sidewalk,
Is
and
there a
it's only
sidewalk?
on their side of the street. And so I walk on that sidewalk to get to the store. But I've been going around the long way, so I don't even go anywhere near their house now. Ever since this protection order came, I've been walking around the long way. Whether or not this protection order goes on, I'm still going to be walking around the long way. I want to avoid these people as much as I possibly can. I don't want to be in their lives. I don't want them to be in my lives. I don't want anything to do with them. I want no conversation. Today, when I came in and actually had to put my stuff in the little tray, and I was undoing the tray, he threw his tray in my tray while I was standing there. That's how afraid of me he is. He's aggressive to me. And I want to stay away from them. I will do everything I can to avoid them. When I am in people's car and I drive past, I look away from their house. I don't want anything to do with them.
Your Honor, we'd also request that he take down off YouTube, off Facebook, any references concerning Seekins or Lloyd or their minor daughter. Seekins or Lloyd or their minor daughter. Seekins or Lloyd or their minor daughter.
You know, there was no 1-year-old. There were 2 people connected, and not one of them was a 1-year-old. But this is the shit that they will come up with.
I remember David saying that when we were first talking about this particular restraining order. And I just wanted, the fact that they're saying we want this stuff taken down off the internet, that's how I feel with David. I want everything that he said about me off the internet because it's a lie and it's harassment. And I think every single one of us have the right to ask that of David. Corey does, Jesse, Pavana, DeFango, right? Gio, Daniel Dowd, we all have the right to ask David to take his harassment and his defamation and his doxing and his Thomas Schoenberger lies. And if Sarah's watching, I hope you know that this is the person that you gave money to lie about Cash and I. You are dealing with a mentally ill person. Let's face it. Listen, watch the sentencing. This is who Sarah Rachel, this is how desperate Sarah Rachel is to harm me and Cash for speaking the truth about what she's done in terms of grifting and nearly killing her clients on the internet.
Or their minor daughter.
Algona there's no 1-year-old. That is all brand spanking new. All developed.
Or their minor daughter.
I mean, watching this, I just read Thomas Schoenberger's latest post pertaining to Sarah and David and the whole situation. Do you realize how stupid that post looks right now after watching this?
Or any type of contact with their address, their license plates. Because otherwise, people reading his blog could engage in continued harassment of this party.
And I am more than willing to do that. In fact, the minute I get home, Your Honor, I will do just that. I will take everything down. I won't take anything that has anything to do with them, I will take down. I have no problems with that.
Your blog is going to get real small, David, real soon.
That protection order out in Kent, Washington, in Algona. Obviously, since he was the only one who was involved in all those 15 plus videos. None of those videos did I ever talk about any of the petitioners to that. Only and solely about Doug Messner. It's all about child trafficking.
You are a really big liar, David. It's so embarrassing.
It's all about child trafficking and them shutting down survivors. That's what it is. It's about them shutting down survivors. And I am more than willing to do that. In fact, the minute I get home, Your Honor, I will do just that. I will take everything down. I won't take anything that has anything to do with them, I will take down. I have no problems with that.
And what are you doing, David? You're still talking about them, right? You're denying what you've done. You're trying to cover up this history. Well, that's not going to happen, David. Not today.
It's that protection order out in Kent, Washington, in Algona. Obviously, since he was the only one who was involved in all those 15 plus videos. None of those videos did I ever talk about any of the petitioners to that. Only and solely about Doug Messner. It's all about child trafficking. It's all about child
trafficking. Oh, you talked about that 1-year-old little baby, David. You didn't just talk about Doug Messner.
Trafficking and them shutting down survivors. That's what it is. It's about them shutting down survivors. And I am more than willing to do that. In fact, the minute I get home, Your Honor, I will do just that. I will take everything down. I won't take anything that has anything to do with them, I will take down. I have no problems with that.
2 very boring minutes later.
When I take stuff down, will I need to get a hold of the court to let them know, or is it just... Because I can take everything down.
But just hang on just a second. I'm trying to work stuff together. I'll talk with you in just a second about it. All right, I will issue a permanent order, which means for a year on both petitions.
Madness. This is Sparta!
It will require the respondent to stay at least 200 feet from the petitioner's residence or person or place of employment, including their person, and that includes the minor named in the order. And that includes the minor named in the order. And that includes the minor named in the order.
So the baby was included in the restraining order, and David denies it. That's the really big point there. They had, because there's other videos where it goes, well, how could a baby get a restraining order? Blah, blah, blah. Well, the parents, you are not to be near the baby. You know what? That is really significant coming from somebody who is accusing others of being child traffickers. That is a huge hypocrisy right there. None of us have restraining orders because, again, like we can't be near somebody's baby. That is huge, David. And Sarah, you're with this guy. You're using this guy as a mouthpiece and paid him to accuse me and your business partner of blackmailing and extorting you. It's not looking good for you either, Sarah. You can be sued and criminally prosecuted, I believe.
Also directing them to take down any posts, videos, photographs, or depictions of or about the petitioners or the minor named in the order. Petitioners or the minor named in the order. Petitioners or the minor named in the order.
You shall not pass!
So yeah, that's pretty much what happened. All right. I'm just gonna kind of stop it there. But yeah, he had a restraining order. It was against the entire family, including the baby, and he is lying.